Let's get to work before I forget what it is I do for a living.
You don't know me, punk.
I used to say my real gift was acting.
He is considered one of the most prolific artists of our time. But John Leguizamo himself will tell you none of it came easy. If it weren't for writing his own one-man shows about being Latino in America,
Oops, did I say that?
doors, he says, would not have opened.
My name is Benny Blanco from the Bronx.
It's just now, he says, after 4 decades in Hollywood,
Oh, my mistake, fellas, my mistake.
he's been cast in his first ever lead role in a dramatic series,
I wonder why.
emblematic of what he calls cultural apartheid that for too long excludes Latino talent from mainstream roles.
We people of color are even more disproportionately impacted.
His hit series, Leguizamo Does America, says it all. He's all about promoting Latino exceptionalism. And owning his own digital media company to promote Latin stories, he says, is a game changer. Actor, comedian, playwright in film, TV, and theater, the unstoppable John Leguizamo. He is today's LA Story. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a really exciting edition of LA Stories. I'm Giselle Fernandez here with the one and only legend, John Leguizamo. So great to be with you.
Thank you for that intro. Holy cow, now I gotta live up to a lot.
No, you've already done it. I mean, you're just such an inspiration to so many. You're so wildly talented. Congratulations on, which is remarkable to even say this, your first ever leading role in a television series.
Yes.
How does that feel?
It feels incredible. This story is based on true facts, the Green Veil, that in the 1950s, government agencies were working with the oil companies to take Native American children from their families and put them up for adoption so they couldn't inherit the land, so they could then get the land from them. And this is a true story that went from the 50s to the 80s.
What about this role most resonated with you?
As a Latin man growing up in America, you know, I was born in the 60s, you know, you weren't always welcome. You never felt you could really celebrate yourself completely because you were invisible. You were erased in your history textbooks. You weren't on television shows except for Ricky Ricardo, you know, Lucy.
Lucy.
It was hard to celebrate yourself. So this character here is in the 50s, and he comes to America and he works for the FBI.
What's your job in all this?
My work is top secret.
And he thinks if he proves to them that he's as white as he can be, that he's gonna be rewarded. And obviously the system uses him and then spits him out and then destroys him.
You can relate to that as well, can't you, in that character?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've been pitching Latin stories for 4 decades and always finding resistance and not understanding what was going on. And I obviously took it to myself and go, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm not writing well enough. I always found a flaw with myself until I got to the point where I go, oh, it's not me, it's you. It's the executives that are flawed, that are not seeing the incredible ability, and they're leaving, what is it, $30 billion at the table because they're not coming after people of color and not coming enough for the Latinos. They need to come after us because they're losing a lot of money.
You grew up in Jackson Heights, and you said it was tough, not just at home, but on the streets getting beaten up. But it was your humor that saved you?
It saved me at home, saved me on the streets, saved me from beatings.
You were described back then as a troubled child, arrested a couple times.
Yeah.
If you had to describe John Leguizamo back then at 15, 16, 17, who were you?
I wanted to be a gangster. That was what I thought was cool. My parents worked so hard, and I saw them not getting anywhere, and I didn't want to be clowned like them. So I thought, I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to go against the system. I was becoming a hoodlum, and I talked like this back then. That's how I was, you know. Yeah, what's up, man? I'm not messing with you. So that's where I was headed towards.
You had a teacher, Mr. Zuffa, and I always want to go back to that inspiration that kind of breaks through the clutter and says, you've got talent.
Yeah.
How did he inspire you?
Well, let me tell you, when you're from the hood, there's a bit that goes with you that you feel unworthy, you know what I mean? And you need somebody to come and put that hand on your shoulder and go, you're worthwhile, you're worth the effort, you're worth fighting for yourself. And Mr. Zuffa was one of those people. My math teacher, he said to me, Mr. Leguizamo, you have the attention span of a sperm. If they can make penicillin out of moldy bread, there's something we can do with you. And he told me I should be a comedian, that I was really funny, and instead of being disruptive in the class, to use that talent for something. And it stuck with me. I found Sylvia Lee Showcase Theater, and I went there, and that's my career started. I found my calling. I found my thing.
One of the unique things about you is how courageous you are and how self-exposing you are.
It's my strength. You know what I mean? Being as raw and honest as I can be is my strength. I think all my experiences in life made me that way.
My father just field goals me across the room, and I was like, ah! Luckily, the nice hard brick wall broke my fall.
I was going to be expelled from high school if I didn't go to therapy, so they forced me to go to therapy, and that saved me at 17. So I went to therapy.
Stigma in Latino community, though, man.
Oh, yeah. But I tell all my Latino people, I say, the people that need the most therapy is us Latinos, because we go through so much, and we don't understand how much racism we're internalizing, how much microaggressions and macroaggressions we're dealing with. We need therapy, so don't be ashamed of it, because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for therapy. It forged me to who I am today. It made me a little bit invincible to Hollywood and the rejection of Hollywood. It forged me. You know, I'm not looking for Hollywood's validation. And I'm grateful for that, because their rejection of me made me find my own voice, made me stronger in my own voice, made me create my own opportunities because they weren't coming my way. So it made me a fighter.
Where did you get, though, the courage, the confidence to say, I don't care if you validate me or not, I'm going to do my own work?
Because of the violence at home, I was very anti-authority. I saw opportunities in these small spaces in New York City, performance art spaces, where I would do my shows and people would respond in such an incredible way that I knew I had something. And then when I got Mambo Mouth, my first one-man show, and I did it in New York, when Latin audiences found me, it was like religion for both of us.
It wasn't just Latin audiences. I read that when you did that show, you had Al Pacino, you had Sam Shepard, you had John Kennedy Jr. come in, all white people.
I had all the white audience first, which was incredible, because I was like, oh wow, our culture is for everybody. Everybody loves us. But then when Latin people found me, it became religion, because they would stomp, yell, holler, cry about the words and the stories that I was telling, because it resonated with them. To see somebody that looked like them up on stage.
You shattered your own glass ceiling, literally put yourself out there on the map and started getting the roles, but not the kind of roles that you wanted. It was always like the thugs or like the drug dealer. Those stereotypes were hard to shatter.
So I knew my opportunities were never going to be equal. I had to create my own path however I could, but I knew the Latin audiences were there. They were all around me. Television and film was not reflecting the real world that I saw. 30% of subscribers and streamers is Latino. 30% of sports fans are Latino.
30% of box office is Latino.
Yes.
What's the disconnect?
The executives don't look like us, and they don't get it. I mean, Fluffy sold out Dodger Stadium. No white comedian has ever sold out Dodger Stadium. Bad Bunny sold out Yankee Stadium twice, and Romeo Santos sold it time and a half. No white artist has ever done that. And yet, where are we? We're still underrepresented. We're almost aggressively excluded. Yeah, this disconnect is there. Exclusionary, systemic racism, that's what it looks like. We're still less than 6% of the leads, less than 1% of the stories being told, less than 1% of the executives in Hollywood. And this isn't just Hollywood. This is like in banking, tech companies, in medicine, everywhere. We're just not, there are quotas, they're in glass ceilings, and we're still thriving, because we reached this point where we have $3.4 trillion of buying power in America. If we were our own country, we'd be as big as France, bigger than Brazil, bigger than India, bigger than Italy. We have to come together and get loud and call people out, and call corporations out, and call Hollywood out. I think we're getting there. We really are.
Thank you for watching our YouTube channel. For more stories in your communities, click the subscribe button right here. You can also download our app or watch us on TV for the latest information, balanced coverage, weather updates every 10 minutes, and more. We'll see you then.